Thank you so much for being here this evening. Before I start my talk, I want to tell you about a little secret that I would hope to share with all my friends. And that is, if you come to Bologna, the beautiful Bologna, watch for the pasta intake. I've gained 10 kilos in the last 3 days. I'm here today to speak about an exhibition that we're going to see hopefully after the talks are finished. Me and a friend of mine, Susan Barris, were fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to receive a call from UN to be able to create an exhibition for the COP21, the Climate Change Summit in Paris. It was last year, very successful climate change. We asked 500 photographers from around the globe to send in their concerns, their passion about the earth, to document the changing and the reasons for climate change. We chose 80 prints to show in the blue section of COP21, where only 197 head of the states were gathering to make a decision about our future planet. There were actors, there were singers, there were politicians, there were students protesting. It was one of the most exciting times of my life to see all these people come together for one reason, and one reason only: to save our planet. When I saw Mr. President Obama, John Kerry, working tirelessly, speaking to the Chinese and the Japanese and the Russians, trying to convince them to sign an agreement that 197 nations signed, to be part of that excitement, to see the islanders crying, trying to find a place for their citizens before their villages and their islands underwater. It was exciting to see the photograph that we created, that we curated during exhibitions, and small changes were reminding these people why they were there and how important their role was to have this document signed. Being there reminded me of my childhood, where I grew up in a little city called Shiraz in Iran. It was very well known for its white grape that we all enjoy. My first experiences with the environment was when I was a child and playing in the dirt, and my mother was shouting at me, "You cannot play in the garbage dump. You cannot swim in the side street in contaminated water." But it beat playing with my 3 older sisters' dolls. So I find it much more amusing, much more interesting. My first childhood impression of the natural resources was when I had to carry buckets of water for my family consumption because my father decided to build a house outside the city. When we had to stand in line to get milk and stand in line for vegetables, stand in line for meat and bread, I realized how precious our time is. Years later, I came to the United States in the 70s, where the birth of environmentalism started. Everywhere in California, you saw people starting organizations, foundations. The Earth Day was born, and we were all enjoying our time and embracing the earth. Later, I went to Cambodia and Phnom Penh, started an organization called Pick It Up, encouraging people to change the culture of trashing, making children, forcing the adults and other children to pick up trash after themselves. We created an exhibition that traveled all over Thailand called Nurture. An art exhibition that was seen by hundreds of thousands of people through the malls and the schools and universities. We tried to bring awareness in the lowest level. We started a Green Dot Awards in America to put the spotlight on the manufacturers and designers that were building, creating services that were green consciousness. Photography has always been the forefront of change. We are all visual creatures. With photography, we have been able to change lives. We have been able to bring to attention of the world leaders the causes and concerns. We have recently started, through our foundation, a land stewardship, a land custodian, that the photography community can come together and select a piece of land that is interesting for them, to document it and be a custodian of that land. We hope everyone with a camera can come together and take pieces of their land, the sidewalks, the farm next to them, the schools, any corners of the world that they see fit. Take over the ownership of that space, document it for the next generation to see. We've asked over 300,000 photographers in our database to get involved, because photography changes lives. After today, we hope to bring in a youth photography competition that we have created that will be displayed at the next COP22, this year's COP in Marrakesh. Once again, reminding the scientists and the politicians and people that are there to implement changes, why they are doing this. To remind them that we have to answer to these children. To remind them that we are only borrowing times, we're only borrowing the space. We don't own this space. We're only a custodian for them, and to be a good custodian. Through the exhibition, you'll see many changes. You see the before and after photographs. You see the changes of distinct species. You see people in India that are dying because of their farms, are that drought in their farms. You see change of seasons. And you will see how, in a small percentage, these exhibitions have helped, photography has helped form the opinions of the future. I remember in the 70s where all the flower childs became activists, where every corner of the world where we got together, everybody talked about the earth. We celebrated. We were worried. We were fearful and hopeful. Through these photographs, we hope that we can change the world. We hope that we can bring the attention of the world to the causes that are important to us. I have always had one motto in my life. To wherever I go, wherever I visit, if I could only try to leave it better than I found it. And if we could all do the same, I think we can preserve a beautiful earth, and I think the next generation will be appreciative of what we do today. Let's together make this beautiful earth our only home, a safe place for the future of children. Thank you.